at this afternoon's top stories. Officials announced the first wave of music festival artists. Gunmen snatched $6 million from businesswoman in Guyana. And France bans free refills on soda. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 1st of February 2017. I am Shaira Flanders. Nationally, music festival officials have announced the first wave of artists to be featured on the 2017 St. Kitts Music Festival. During a press conference on Wednesday morning at the Ocean Terrace Inn, Chairman of the Artist Selection Committee, Jonal Powell, announced that the performers were chosen to maximize attendance and international appeal. The artists announced were reggae acts Shabarangs, Movado and Jacua, and pop group the Goo Goo Dolls. The officials also announced that they are looking to expand the music festival experience and will be adding a band clash to raise the level of excitement. Ambassador Powell said the full roster will be released at a later date. The press conference was carried live on ZIZ Radio. Later today, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris will host his monthly press conference to update citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis on matters of national interest. The event will be held at 2 p.m. in the Parliamentary Lounge at Government Headquarters. It will be broadcast live on national media and attended by the press corps, who will ask questions for the benefit of the listening and viewing public. The press conference comes on the heels of the Unity Government's latest town hall meeting entitled Good Governance and Accountability for Prosperity. It was held on Tuesday evening at the Keon Community Center. Residents of West Bastia are singing the praises of the Team Unity government for delivering on its promise of upgrading the sporting facility in Boyd's Village. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris and Deputy Prime Minister the Honorable Sean Richards toured the facility to get a first-hand look at the work completed to date. Accompanying them on that tour was Senator in the National Assembly, the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, a resident of West Bastia. She thanked the government for acting on its promise in such a short period of time and noted that the new facility can significantly improve the development of the sport in the area.
I am absolutely delighted that now the people of Boyd's are able to have the recreation facility which they have been asking for a long time, having a football field, and I'm hoping eventually we would also see a football team entering from the Boyd's area into the big leagues. So I'm sure they would be very pleased and happy that they have this now. And then added, you have the basketball court. So again, another possibility for there to be a big team out of Boyd's taking part in the National League also at that level.
Another resident of West Bastia, Damien Weeks, was also on hand during the tour of the facility. He commended the government for its vision in going beyond just another sporting facility by incorporating a kids area and jogging path for the benefit of all residents.
We have been asking for this field for quite some time, and it is good to see that we will be getting a complete facility in terms of recreation for the Child's Park, the basketball court, the fencing. So it is something that has been plaguing the community for quite some time, and we just want the people to appreciate it, accept it, and just use it to the best of their abilities, because there's a lot more in store for the community of West Bastia and constituency number 3 from the Team Unity government.
After falling into a state of despair, the Boyd Sporting Facility, under the leadership of the Team Unity government, is currently undertaking work that will see the installation of lights, fencing, a new basketball court, a kids zone, and a jogging path. The police are investigating a report of building breaking and theft at Caribbean Refill situated at 4th Street near the Skerrit building. According to a press release, the complainant secured his business at about 4 p.m. on January 26th before leaving. When he returned at about 8:45 a.m. on January 27th, he saw that the display case that contained the cell phones and accessories was empty. The police said the victim found a hole in the roof of his building. He also found the security camera had been unplugged and some degree of force was used to pry up the galvanized and wooden roofing to enter through the back of the building. There are no suspects at present and video footage will be collected. The scene was processed by the crime scene unit. Investigation into this report continues. Moving on to news on the regional scene, Guyana police are investigating an incident in which gunmen reportedly snatched $6 million from a businesswoman. Here's more.
An East Coast businesswoman was robbed at gunpoint less than 30 minutes after she had withdrawn $6 million from a city bank. The traumatized woman, who operates an upholstery shop, said she had just gotten home when the gunmen pounced on her.
But when I reached to my home, I done in my yard, and this man come out of the gun and pull it on me, and he said, give me the bag. I said, no. And I shy the bag and give my husband in the house. And then I told him run off on the car and pull the gun to my husband. And I tell him, no, when I grab back the bag, he said, rob shit over, I got on some bangle. But he didn't get the bangle. I grabbed back the bag and then I put the gun in my head, and then the man slashed me.
Police from the Betafawactin police station, after learning of the robbery, immediately patrolled the area to see what clues could lead them to the gunmen. Investigators even checked the security cameras of nearby buildings. Were these men masked?
No, one I got on a hat, and he's a black guy. And the next one is a fair-skinned person.
Do you suspect anyone?
No, them strange guys.
But this is a regular car that you use to go to the bank?
Yes, yeah.
Regular car? Or
He-
you always use it?
Yes, and he just normally bring me home. I just put millions of dollars. And he normally scare me, change a check, do things.
The woman's cab driver was also questioned by police at Betafawactin in relation to the robbery. Without pointing fingers at anyone from inside the bank, the woman said that she spent a lot more time than usual inside the bank. She explains.
I called the taxi driver to collect me about 11, something to 11, because they got me signing paper in the bank so long. Yeah, my name ain't right, this ain't right. And I take, but I was in the bank. So when I come out, I go in the car with the money, but I've been a little scared.
The suspects fled the scene in the vehicle with the money and other important documents, while a case of armed robbery has been opened at the Betafawactin police station.
But me can't know how this job is, but I give my husband the bag. Yeah, the bag I give my husband with all the money, and then the document, all my visa. I got England visa, I got America visa, my husband passport, 3 bank card in it. Oh, Jarvis, this can be really unfair.
Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
In St. Lucia, the Inland Revenue Department is assuring the public that all is in place for the shift to the new standard VAT rate of 12.5%. The government agency responsible for tax collection and enforcement will oversee the implementation of the adjustment set for February 1st. Here's more.
Value-Added Tax Act was amended in December 2016 to reduce the standard VAT rate from 15% to 12.5%, but the reduction is scheduled to take effect on Wednesday, February 1st, 2017. According to Comptroller of the Inland Revenue Department, Sophia Henry, albeit adjustments to the standard rate, every other category remains unchanged.
For example, zero-rated supplies, exempt supplies, and there are certain supplies applicable to the hotel and tourism sector. These remain unchanged. So it's only the standard rate that will reduce to the 12.5%.
The change is also applicable to existing contracts.
So notwithstanding the contract has been signed and it extends beyond January, the 15% will be applicable up to January 31st, and from February 1st, the 12.5% rate will apply. So contractors will be reminded, we are working with that sector to remind them that the effective rate will be 12.5%, notwithstanding a contract has been signed.
So what impact will the changes have on prices? The Comptroller explains that market forces will ultimately determine costs.
Everything else remaining constant, we expect that prices will reduce with the reduced rate. So the prices, for example, of standard rated goods and supplies, we expect there to be a reduction as a result of the reduced rate. That is, as I said earlier, if everything else remains constant.
Henry insists that the business community is ready and the process is not unwieldy.
The categorization of the goods and services have not changed, so it's just a simple rate reduction applicable just to the standard rates. So there's not much that has to be done, but to just change the prices So the businesses are quite prepared. We have already communicated the information to the Chamber of Commerce, the Manufacturers Association, so the businesses are prepared.
Despite assurances from the authorities, consumers are urged to be vigilant and pay close attention to receipt of payments.
They need to review their VAT sales receipt and VAT sales invoices to ensure that the 12.5 rate is reflected on the sales receipt and the sales invoice. We will also monitor to ensure that the correct rate is reflected effective February 1st, 2017.
Consumers with concerns about possible discrepancies are asked to report them to the Inland Revenue Department at telephone numbers 468-4730, 468-4760, 468-4766. The Inland Revenue Department will in turn contact the respective VAT-registered entity.
Moving on to news on the international scene, the French government announced a ban on sodas, stating that the decision has been made to combat rising obesity rates, particularly for young adults. More in this report.
France is saying au revoir to free soda refills. The government announced it wants to limit access to sugary drinks. So energy beverages, fruit juices, and anything that has added sugar can't be refilled for free. France has made some big steps in the past, seemingly with a goal to improve the health of its citizens. In 2004, it voted to take vending machines selling candy and soft drinks out of schools. In 2012, the country imposed a tax on sugary beverages. The refill ban is in line with recommendations from the World Health Organization. The WHO has urged countries to regulate sugary drinks, saying tooth decay, obesity, and diabetes are on the rise. On average, the French are less overweight compared to many other countries in the European Union, as well as the United States. Still, authorities are doing what they can to limit the intake of unhealthy products, especially for young people.
President Donald Trump has named a fast-rising conservative federal judge as his Supreme Court nominee.
In a primetime address from the White House, President Donald Trump announcing his choice for the Supreme Court, Judge Neil Gorsuch.
Thank you. So was that a surprise? Was it? Judge Gorsuch has outstanding legal skills, a brilliant mind, tremendous discipline, and has earned bipartisan support.
The 49-year-old Gorsuch has served on the 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Denver since 2006 after being appointed by President George W. Bush.
Standing here in a house of history and acutely aware of my own imperfections, I pledge that if I am confirmed, I will do all my powers permit to be a faithful servant of the Constitution and laws of this great country.
If confirmed, he will fill the seat left vacant by the death of Antonin Scalia, long the right's most powerful voice on the High Court. With Scalia's wife Maureen sitting in the audience, Trump and Gorsuch both took care to praise the late justice.
Justice Scalia was a lion of the law.
Well, the president did what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to nominate a constitutional conservative, and he also pointed out that millions of people voted for him because they cared about the Supreme Court and what the Supreme Court was going to look like after the death of Justice Scalia, and he's delivered on that campaign promise.
The nomination of Gorsuch, a fast-rising conservative judge with a writer's flair, sets up a fierce fight with Democrats.
So far, there's been a very stark partisan and ideological divide. Conservative groups and Republicans in Congress have basically been elated by this nomination, and Democrats in the main and the groups on the liberal side have been quite critical, with some already urging Democrats to filibuster or try to block this nomination.
If confirmed, Gorsuch will restore the court to the conservative tilt it held with Scalia on the bench. A concern that sparked immediate reaction on the steps of the Supreme Court.
Gorsuch has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho.
But in a sign of support, a small group offered what they said was the first prayer for the Trump nominee. Tracy Brown, Associated Press.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are fair with a moderate breeze of 16 miles per hour from the east-northeast. Seas are locally rough with waves reaching 7 feet, primarily on the eastern side of the islands. A small craft advisory remains in effect and beachgoers should exercise caution. Weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis predicts the weather today will be partly cloudy with a 30% or moderate chance of showers. Tonight will be occasional cloudy with a 60% or high chance of showers. That brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Shaira Flanders. Have a good one.